This podcast is sponsored by BetterHelp. We may be a comic duo, but we take mental health very serious. BetterHelp is the world's largest therapy service and is completely online. BetterHelp is a network with over 30,000 licensed and experienced therapists who can help you with a wide range of issues. To get started, answer a few questions, and BetterHelp can match you with the right therapist from their network.
You can message your therapist at any time and schedule live sessions when it's convenient for you. If your therapist isn't the right fit for any reason, you can switch to a new therapist at no additional charge. With BetterHelp, you get the same professionalism and quality you expect from in-office therapy, but with a therapist who is custom-picked for you, more scheduling flexibility, and at a more affordable price. Get 10% off your first month at betterhelp.com/amp. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/amp.
Hey, everybody. Well, it's been a minute yet again, but Cass and I had a fantastic episode on the Clopen Effect called Micromanaging with Fear. And so I wanted to bring that over to AMP, to Anxiety Makes Me Poop. But you just get me this time. We were going to put the exact same episode on both podcasts, but I thought maybe I would just chat real quick about it. Micromanaging is still a thing. It's been going on for many, many years. It's an old tactic to get people to work, and it makes them stressed out, and it makes people leave, and it causes the revolving door. And there's just a lot of things that micromanaging with fear affects. And the biggest thing is that it affects you, your self-esteem, your soul, your brain, your thoughts, your work, your ethics, your everything. I had lunch with a friend a few weeks back, and we were talking, and he said, I think I'm being micromanaged because I am not confident anymore. I feel like I'm being watched, and all of a sudden I don't know how to do my job that I've been doing for 25 years. And that made me so sad that a new manager that just came in is causing my friend to feel that way. So I really wanted to talk about it. So we definitely talked about it on the Clopen Effect, and then I'm going to bring it here for you as well. So managing with fear is a leadership style where leaders use fear as a primary tool to motivate employees and achieve organizational goals. It doesn't last long, though, when you manage in fear or when you micromanage. It does not last long. You will lose your people. You will have toxic environment. You will have complaints. You will have people going to leadership, bubbling things up. You will have people going to HR. And the approach often involves threats, intimidation, and a strict punitive environment. To me, it almost makes my stomach hurt because I feel like we're just out of that. I remember one time my husband and I went to go buy a Jeep locally here, and we had a smaller car, and we were expecting our first baby, and the salesman actually blocked us in the doorway and threatened us about, you are going to let your pregnant wife get back into that small car and you're not going to buy this Jeep? My husband and I had fantastic credit, and it was a used Jeep. It had 6,000 miles on it, and it was I think it was a Saturday afternoon, and the whole deal was we did the loan, but then we didn't like the percentage because we're not going to pay, 23% on a Jeep. Like we didn't understand why the percentage was so high. There was no reason for it, and they were insisting that we have to buy this Jeep, and he was giving us, your pregnant wife, and that car's too small, she's driving, and aren't you the man of your house, and don't you make the decisions? Because I was like, no, we're not going to do that. That is just way too high of a percentage. I have no idea what they were trying to do. I think it was just a scam. It was just a sales tactic. I don't think it was 23%. For some reason though, that number's in my head. I feel like it was just obnoxious, and as soon as we saw it, we thought, yeah, no. And we ended up finding another Jeep somewhere else and had a fantastic experience. But that's kind of how fear-based is in the workplace as well. They give you all these reasons of, well, you're not going to do that because of this, and because of that, you're going to do that. And it just really causes stress and anxiety in the person that's working. And you're looking over your shoulder. Are they watching me? Especially with the micromanaging. So characteristics of fear-based managing is intimidations and threats, just like I kind of described. They use threats of job loss or demotion, or you should be happy that you're here, or using the term job security. I actually sometimes joke around about that when we're super, super busy and I'm like, oh, job security. But I've actually learned not to like saying that anymore. The job that I'm at now, we are so busy that there's no reason to even joke around about job security or, oh, luckily we're so busy or anything like that. It's just not working. So there's, hardly any employees in the stores. We work retail. And so we're doing a lot of work, and it's just, I never want to use that term anymore. I just don't want to use anything negative anymore because people are working their butts off. The other thing micromanaging does is it's a constant surveillance and detailed control over the employee's work, leading to a lack of autonomy. So, for example, years ago, I started a job, and I started the job, and I was 1 month in, and my leadership changed. I had a new manager, and we had a one-on-one, and as soon as we sat down, she said, I just want to let you know I'm not a micromanager. You go do you, and we'll just check in every week. And immediately, for some reason, the way that she said that was a red flag to me. If you have to say you're not a micromanager, in this case, she was. And it caused a lot of anxiety for me because they had a neat little instant message thing, and, I'll be working on a report, and she'd be writing me, you're getting that done? Well, yeah, it's due in 2 days at the end of the day. But she'd check in almost every hour, almost like she didn't trust that I was going to get it done. And, reach out if you need anything. But really, she was just reaching out to me. And then, 24 hours before it was due, let's go over it. Let's have a one-on-one. Let's talk about, okay, you said to get it by the end of the day, Thursday. It's only Wednesday morning. So that's kind of micromanaging. Not really trusting that the person's doing what they're doing, constant surveillance, constant questions. And actually, I probably could have gotten a lot of the tasks done earlier if I wasn't interrupted so much. So think about that too. Punitive actions is a quick to punish mistakes rather than using them as learning opportunities. I try my best at that. I am in a manager role, and I try my best at using them for learning opportunities. Sometimes the way I say things, it sounds like I'm quick to punish someone. I never, ever want anyone to feel that way. It's because it's not about that. I am the first person to say, I'm wrong. Let me fix it. Or I'm sorry. I'm going to work on that. I was only at 90%. I will make sure the next time at 100%. I was talking to another coworker of mine, and she said, you show me once or you tell me once that I did something, I'm going to remember it forever. And I am the exact same way. It was such a good point. If I do something and you're like, actually, no, we're going to do it this way, I will remember it forever. I won't remember what I had for breakfast the day before. But if you tell me this is how we're doing it or this is what happened, I forever remember. And actually, sometimes then if I get a new leader or a new manager that then changes that, then I second guess myself. If something happens where they say, well, no, actually, we've always done it this way. Like maybe this next manager says, well, we always done it this way. And I'm like, have we? Because I'm pretty sure the first manager told me it's this, this, and this. Oh, goodness. So yes, I remember everything. Lack of trust. Big, big, big one. A pervasive atmosphere of distrust where managers believe employees are not self-motivated or trustworthy. That's the worst. One of the worst on here, only because I've been through it. So why did you do it that way? Or, you know what, if you don't think you can get it done by Thursday, then you know what, why don't I just do it? Or how about I always heard the word, well, let me just do a skeleton deck for you and then you can fill it out. But when I would get to the skeleton deck, I'm putting that in quotes, it would literally almost be done for me. And then I would just go ahead and add a few notes in here. Come on, let me do it. Let me do it. And then we can talk about it at our one-on-one that you want on Wednesday afternoon. How about high pressure? Creating a high stress environment where employees feel constant pressure or performing without fail. Like you cannot go wrong. We don't have time to go wrong. I won't say failure happens. Mistakes happen because we're all human. So you have to leave some room for, oh, shoot, yeah, that happened. No problem. You know what? Go back and do that. And then come back to this other task. right? Don't put that high pressure on them that if you feel the constant pressure that you're going to fail, because you're not going to fail. You're going to be great. So effects on employees and the organization is short-term compliance. So employees, they may quickly out of fear get something done. Oh my gosh, I got to go run to that store and get it done. Or oh my gosh, I got to go run to that office and talk to them. But you know what? It's all short-term. You can only scare people for so long before they go, I'm out. I'm done. How about low morale and engagement? So fear-based management can lead to decreased job satisfaction, morale, and engagement. I've been there, done that twice, actually, and had to leave because I just could not get up another day and feel the way that I was feeling. I was always afraid of what was going to happen next, or the next phone call would make me almost want to throw up, So high turnover is also increased stress, and dissatisfaction often results in higher employee turnover rates. I feel like that's a given, but definitely wanted to mention it. Reduced innovation is something that we talked about on the Clopen Effect too, because fear stifles creativity. So just for example, in an office setting, if you're asking someone to create a deck to present to a group, but you really don't allow them to do anything, there's not going to be much motivation for creativity or innovation. Just like if maybe you're at a store or you work where there is some sort of performance or some kind of innovation or some kind of creativity that you can do, maybe an end cap or something like that if you're in retail. If you reduce the innovation of someone and you're just telling them exactly what to do all the time, they're going to lose creativity. They're not even going to be able to think for themselves. So don't do that. And then, of course, poor relationships, right? It just damages relationships everywhere, from the managers to the team members themselves. It all leads to a lack of collaboration and trust, which makes you look unorganized, unhinged, just what is going on? We're just spinning around in circles. Someone tell us what's happening. And, one person may try to organize everything, but then if they're getting micromanaged or if they don't have a good relationship with someone else who's trying to ruin it, then you got poor relationships everywhere. So let's talk about if you're being micromanaged. This might be something that you are hearing from them. A micromanager often communicates in ways that reflect their need for control and lack of trust. So if you're hearing these kind of phrases, you might be micromanaged. And I apologize, this may trigger some people, but this is so to help you to know if you're getting micromanaged. So if they're giving instructions and directive, here is something that they may say. I need you to copy me on every email. Let me see your progress on this every hour. Before you do anything, run it by me first. I want to review your work before you submit it. Now that one can go either way. So if I'm talking to a manager or to a leader that is higher than my boss, he may ask, I want to review your work before you submit it, just so he is in the know, right? So that one can go either way. But if you're hearing it in more of a negative and it's because you're not able to make that next step and lead your own role, then that would be micromanaging. So I just wanted to clarify that. Instructions and directive. I need to approve all decisions you make on this project. Can you even imagine? You can't even do one step without saying, can I do one step? You're getting micromanaged. So how about the next one is criticism and corrections. So if these sound like something that you're hearing, you might be getting micromanaged. Why did you do it this way? You should have done it like this. Shoulds. The shoulds, they drive me crazy. You should have. I catch myself sometimes. Sometimes I say, well, what I should have done. I'm like, no, wait, actually and I always correct myself as soon as I use that word should. I don't even try to use the word should anywhere, anytime. I just feel like that's it. No, don't do it. This isn't how I would have done it. Change it to match my approach. Now, if we're talking about a planogram or a plan, and it's supposed to match the plan, careful consideration has gone into that plan based on sales and such. That's, again, something different. If you're looking at a 4-foot section and you have a piece of paper or something on your screen that's a 4-foot section, it has to match. Again, if they say, though, this isn't how I would have done it, not based on a plan, change it to match my approach, that's being micromanaged. That's them trying to make you be them. You missed a small detail here. You need to be more thorough. That's not a coaching. That is not a coaching line. That's a criticism. That's a rough correction. I don't think you understand how important it is to follow my exact instructions. I think you're getting the trend here, right? Exact. Need. Match my approach. You should have, right? Criticism and corrections. You should have asked me first before making that choice. Tough one. Again, now, this is something, if you're in a role and you need to be involved in things that make decisions, but someone outside of your role is making a decision and you're like, wait, but that wasn't the plan, that's something different. But if they're just doing it to correct you so that, again, you're matching them, you're matching their approach, they're trying to create a clone, then you're being micromanaged. How about questioning and checking in? This one probably bothers me the most. Years ago, I was micromanaged, and this is probably what bothered me the most. It's actually the same boss I was just talking about, that it was like, okay, you have 48 hours, you have 24 hours. Can you show me it? And even though it was supposed to be end of day Thursday to meet and then finalize on Friday. What are you working on right now? Where are you at right now? Have you completed that task I assigned to you yet? When there was a timeline, let's talk about that real quick. The one thing that I did learn at my job before this one, anytime someone asked for a task, the first question back, if it wasn't in the question from the leadership, was, when do you need this by? And no one sent anything back questioning it until the time that was agreed upon. For example, I need a report on this many stores that are selling this item, and this, and this is the report. I wrote back, because it was a Monday, when can I get this to you? When do you need this by? And the person wrote back, I have a meeting on Thursday morning. Could you get it to me Wednesday by 3? Then we would have about 2 hours and Thursday morning to update, edit, do anything we need. I did not hear from that person until I sent it on Wednesday at 3. And they said, looks great. Could you just change this, this, and this? It was ready by 5 p.m. on Wednesday, and they had their meeting on Thursday. So that's the difference. That's the difference between, have you completed that task I assigned to you yet? If you have a deadline, if you have a timeline, that's what you respond with. If they're asking you on Monday, if they're asking you on Tuesday, if they're asking you on Wednesday and it's 2:00, you can say, our timeline is Wednesday at 3 p.m. I will have it to you then. The next one is, why are you doing it this way? Kind of similar to what we talked about, right? Why are you doing it this way? They want you to be their clone. No, we're all different. We're all human. We all have different ways of viewing things. How much time did you spend on this? It seems like too much. Oh, the memories on this one. I got a phone call in a store years and years and years ago, and the person was not on the project, gave the project to 14 people, and sat behind her computer watching our progress on the computer with a program that we had. And I got a phone call. I was standing in the middle of the office. And she said, what is taking you and your team so long to finish? I'm looking at 15 hours because there's 5 of you with 3 hours. And I was just like, what? Because she wasn't there. There was actually only 2 of us that took 2 hours. And I was trying to figure out where she was getting this report from. Well, it was because the report hadn't closed yet. I hadn't put in our time yet. It was just open, and she kept refreshing her page, micromanaging. waiting for us to finish. So she was thinking that with the report being open, that's how long it was taking us. And she thought that there were 5. I had a team of 5. I had a team of 2. I allowed 2 other people to go somewhere else because someone was struggling. I said, go ahead, we got this. The 2 of us can do it. So she said, how much time did you spend on this? It's like, it's taking too much. Oh my goodness. Hung up the phone. I was like, I will close it when I'm done and when I put my notes in, and then you'll see that it's only been 4 hours. But that just causes so much stress. Stop checking in like that. If you give someone a time frame or a deadline, wait until then if you haven't heard from them. Wait, just wait. If they reach out to you, which is something that happens, you're in the middle of a project, you're like, oh, wait, you know what? I better ask on this real quick. And you can always start it by saying, I know that my deadline or my time frame is Wednesday at 3 p.m., but I just have a quick question. I'm still going to make that deadline, but if you could just confirm this with me, then I'll make sure it's right. Wednesday at 3 p.m. Oh, this is another one. Are you sure you can handle this task on your own? Why would anyone ask anybody that? If someone didn't think that they could handle a task, I feel like they would speak up. If you're someone that doesn't speak up, though, I'm telling you, I'm giving you permission right now to speak up. If the task is too hard or you just seem overwhelmed, go to your boss and say, I feel like this task is a little bit bigger than me. I may need an extra day or 2. Or could you get someone to help me? And did you notice that I use I feel? Share that with the micromanager. Expressing lack of trust, another fear-based or micromanaging type thing. I'm not sure you can get this done correctly without my help. Why you gotta be next to me all the time? You don't need to be next to me. Again, if I need help on the task, I will reach out. And as a manager, you can also tell everyone I think my line is always, if you need anything, if you have any questions, reach out. I'm someone that will give you a million details to answer one small question, but I'd rather have you have all the details so that you can go off and do your own thing without having to feel like you don't have all the information. And I laugh about that. Someone will ask me something fairly simple, because they'll call and say, I have a simple question, but can you just help me decide this? And I'll say, well, I talked to this person and this is what they said to do. So then we came with we went with this person and we talked about that. And I give like a, 7-minute speech on the whole process and where they came to that solution. And it's so funny because I've never heard anyone say, wow, that was a long answer. I actually heard someone say, wow, that makes total sense. I totally get it now. And I'm actually going to go back to the other place and redo it now that you explained it to me. So again, I'm not with them, right next to them. And I'm not sure you can get this done correctly without my help. Was never even in that. I would never ask that if someone called and asked a question. I'll handle this part since it's too critical to leave to anyone else. Really? Trust your people. Trust your people. Stop it. I need constant updates to ensure you're staying on track. No, you don't. No, you don't. If an email comes through and it's a task and it's exactly what needs to be done, trust. I learned this years ago. Trust but verify. In a non-micromanaging way. Trust that the person's going to get it done. Trust that they're going to call you if they're stuck. If your team's not calling you when they're stuck, if they're calling someone else, if you're not getting any phone calls, you probably lost the trust of people asking for help. Work on that. It's better if you stick exactly to my methods. No. Again, we're human. We're human. We're all going to. So if you have a picture, I learned this. If you have a picture, you show 10 people the picture and say, make your space exactly like this picture. You're going to have some variances because people look at the picture differently and look at the set differently. So then you can go in and say, hey, you know what? I noticed that this red blah, blah, blah label is on the left side in the picture. Could you also make yours that way? Again, we're just following that. But if you're telling them, no, stick to exactly the way that I created this set on this picture, and you're talking task based, like step 1, I took this down. Step 2, I did and you want people to follow that. It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. It doesn't matter how you get to the goal. It doesn't matter how your team member gets to the goal, as long as the goal is met. And you could tweak it here and there, right? I'm concerned about your ability to manage this on your own. Why would anyone say that? Why would anyone say that? Don't do that. Don't even say it. I don't even have a comment to that one. I'm concerned about your ability to manage this on your own. Trust your people. Trust your people. But a micromanager would say that. So micromanagers often undermine their employees' autonomy and confidence, leading to decreased morale, productivity, low self-esteems. That's a big one. People all of a sudden start saying, I've been doing this job for 20, 30, 40 plus years, and now I feel like I've been doing it wrong this whole time because this micromanager is telling me that I'm doing it wrong. Stop it. Addressing micromanagement involves clear communication, setting boundaries, that's a big one, and sometimes seeking support from higher management. Let's talk about setting boundaries. I had a conversation years ago with someone. There was someone that just constantly messaged and called and texted and emailed. One time, I mentioned this on the Clopen Effect maybe once or twice. I was in a meeting, so I had my phone on Do Not Disturb. I look down at my phone and I'm seeing green, like things are coming through and then they're turning red because I'm missing things. I'm like, wow, there must be an emergency. But I wouldn't be the one to call in the event of emergency. I wasn't in that role. My boss's boss would be the emergency or 911. And so I'm looking, it's the same person. By the time my 1 hour meeting was over, I had 7 missed calls from this person, 3 text messages, 2 emails, and probably something else. I think like an instant message on Teams or on Slack. And I truly couldn't believe it. And when I finally emailed the person back, I said, could you please email me what you were calling me on? Because I figured if it was an emergency, we had to document it. And I got another phone call. So I thought, okay, I'll answer it and just make sure that it's not, I could not answer my phone because I was in a very important 1 hour meeting, but I could answer it then. And the question was something that I had already put in an email, had already spoke on, and probably already put it in Teams or Slack. And it could have been referenced, but because they didn't like the way that I wanted it done, they wanted to correct me on it. And I thought, oh, this is so strange. This is not an emergency. It's because they didn't like it, what I was saying, and they weren't a manager themselves. And I thought, wow, okay. And then it happened a couple other times where it was like phone call, email. And I thought, you know what? Something's going on here. It's not me. Because everyone else in the group is understanding everything. This is someone that maybe something's happening here, right? I didn't know what. So I had to set my boundaries. So I told the person, I can't have you call me, text me, instant message me anymore. I need you to just put it in an email as a recap at the end of your day. And then I'll respond back with, your great calls or what we can do to fix whatever it is that you're thinking about. I can't answer my phone 7 times in a row on something. So you have to set your boundaries. If you're suffering from a low self-esteem, if you're suffering from low morale, my biggest advice is if a person calls you, ask them to put it in an email. If a person calls you, they've been thinking about what they want to talk to you about. For example, if it's something about punching in and out, or where you've been, or where are you on this task, or who did you speak to, that can all be in an email. So what happens is with micromanaging, and I can say this because I've been through it, not as a micromanager, but as someone that was micromanaged. My boss would look through everything on her computer, and then she would call me. And so then she would fire off all these questions like this. Boom, 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 boom. Can you hear my snaps? She would fire off all these questions and say, well, how come it's like this? How come it's not like this? How come? And she was trying to catch me in something, which there was nothing to catch. I would just say, oh, yeah, it was this. Oh, yeah, it was this. Oh, but then I would get off the phone and I would just feel, lousy. I would feel like I was attacked. Then, of course, I was thinking about all the different things that I said. Did I say the right thing? Or is she now going to put it in an email with what I said but misinterpret it? And so I had to ask her not to call me anymore, but to put everything in a recap in an email so that I then could have time to look at what she's asking me, do my research, and then respond and add the appropriate people on it or a witness. So if you don't take anything else away from this episode, please take this. If you're getting phone calls, if you're getting text messages, if everything's just all over the place, stop the person from calling you, put up your boundaries, whatever you need to do, and ask them to put it in an email so that you have a moment to write back. Most things are not an emergency. Most things should be on a time frame. And you can, if you're working and you have a very busy day, or let's just say you have a stressful day, you don't feel like talking to anybody. That's okay. That is okay. You can go do your job. Then you can sit down and look at your email and you can say, received your email, will respond by, and you can give a time frame so that you have time to read through all the questions or read through what the task is, and then you can respond in a healthy manner, with a healthy thought. Put up your boundaries. Put up your boundaries if you have a micromanager. If you feel like you are looking over your shoulder 24/7, or you're not sleeping, or you have stomach aches, or you're having anxiety, or you're hearing those different quotes that we just talked through, you're probably being micromanaged and it's not healthy. Reach out to somebody. Reach out to a colleague that you trust. Reach out to a therapist if you need it. I had to do it years ago. I said, please help. My self-esteem is in the basement and I don't know what to do with it. And she helped me build everything back up and learn how to set boundaries and learn how to stay on task and learn how to ask for time frames and deadlines. And it's been better. So you can do it too. So thanks for listening. Take care of you. Take care of each other. Talk to you next time.